It's the day. It's the Tata IPL 2024 final, and I'm pretty much excited. Despite my two teams are not qualified for the final, but still, I'm pretty much excited. I have Orko with me, who has a very big smile on his face, but his face looks tense. Is it just because who is the opponent captain? We have to see that. But I'll start things with Rohan. Rohan, do you think that the two deserving teams have made it to the finals?
Definitely, Pritham. I mean, if you go by the league's leaderboard as well as the performance on field, I think KKR and Sunrisers, I think, had the most bases covered and most balanced team for all conditions. I think that's why they are here while the others are eliminated. I think KKR, SRH, good game, I feel, in the context. They had a pretty decent team game previous time in the league too. So I feel it'll be a deserved and well contested final.
Absolutely, but when it comes to the Kolkata Knight Riders, Orko, what's the difference you see from the last few seasons to this season? What has made you guys play a different brand of cricket? In the qualifier one, there was nothing of a net run rate. Still, you just dominated the entire game, made it a one-horse qualifier one against the Sunrisers Hyderabad and won it. What's making it different? Is it still, I'm repeating, is it that man in the management?
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it because see, there's a way of playing an intent-filled game because with Gambhir we are playing that intent-filled game with a more meaningful manner. When we played with the same intent in the past, when Morgan was there, we didn't really look meaningful. So now they have that meaningful intent, and that's what has got them this far. So it certainly has to be the man who is in the dugout, and no one except Gautam Gambhir.
No one except Gautam Gambhir is the man behind KKR's success. We will see that. Is he on the ride of the making being the next Indian coach as well? We have to wait and see what happens. But let's take a look at the journey so far for both the teams for the Tata IPL 2024. Starting with the home side, the Kolkata Knight Riders in the final. We have so many games, including the qualifier one. My question to you, Orko, out of all the 15 games you have played so far before the final, pick one game which has made it special so far this season. Just one.
Certainly the one in Wankhede. I think the one where we beat Mumbai. I know that Mumbai have underperformed, but the fact that we have beaten them, which is pretty rare, and that too after 12 years in Wankhede, defending a target when we were a bowler short, we had to play Manish Pandey after a collapse, and with the way Stark suddenly came into the news to prove his price tag,
And
getting four
also to
wickets.
add, there was due.
Absolutely, with due, and the target wasn't too big either. We didn't score some 200, 230. It was just a mere 170. And to defend that against a quality batting lineup like Mumbai at their home turf with a bowler shot, I think it's something that no one would have desired, but ultimately somehow the result came in their favor, and that is, I think, the most iconic win of this season for us.
Okay, most iconic win is the one at the Wankhede where they won it after 12 long years. Going to the other end is the Orange Army. Rohan, this time, despite you not being an SRH fan, but you can sum it up. Was it that one-run victory against the Rajasthan Royals at Hyderabad? Was that one, which one they would look into, or is it any other game? Which is the 10-wicket win, which they chased down in 9 overs against the Lucknow Super Giants? Anything else?
Yeah, definitely that one run win where Bhuvi kind of got Powell trapped with, I'll say, a lucky full toss. But end of the day, if you don't attack the stumps, you're not benefited. I think that kind of a win was very important because Sunrisers' strength has been batting first, putting above par runs on board, and then allowing their bowlers to finish the job. Even if they get hit, they'd be a par score that be getting, but India and they'll have enough runs to defend. But for me, one more game that highlighted their season was they were struggling chasing a lot, and against someone like Punjab Kings, for that matter, they had to chase about 200, and they did a pretty decent job chasing that pretty much in style. I think lots of loopholes were there earlier, but kind of everything is fitting because of that one win where a guy like Rahul Tripathi came in, and it showed that they weren't heavily depending only on the two left-handers at the top of the
Openers.
order. I think that kind of helped them get that little extra self-belief in case they had to chase a 200 plus score. I think they can do it. I think that made them a bit more calmer in the sense if they go bat first or chase, they can do the job equally well.
But even the day before yesterday game in the qualifier two, the way they fought back, 175 looked like it's a 150 now in the current generation. But Rajasthan started off well, though TKC struggled in the middle.
Mm.
But the way the spinners came back, is it that they were lucky enough there was no due?
I think that point holds a lot more wealth here, Pritham. The dew kind of not coming helped their spinners, especially finger spinners, both Abhishek as well as Shabaz. You saw as soon as there was no dew, the old kind of a Chepauk wicket showed up its head,
Correct.
where the ball was
Correct.
gripping and doing all sorts of work. So that kind of gave more value to innings like a Henrik Klassen, who kind of controlled his aggressive instinct and ran well in between the wickets to get those
Absolutely. That's what the
two
commentators were
Okay,
mentioning.
yeah. So
The
I think
boundaries is something Rajasthan was targeting. Yes, Rohit. Sorry to
true.
interrupt.
No, that's what, as you said, I think the commentary panel also said, because Chennai is a wider dimensions are more there in terms of your square boundaries. So you can already use the gaps in the field well to, if you have good running between the wickets as your strength, you can always push those extra runs for your benefit, rather than what Sunrisers plan of hitting a lot more sixes may not be the case every time. They're very similar to what an England team would do in international cricket, where heavily power hitters are there, but the only
Correct.
Achilles they have is when the pitch starts assisting either seam or spin, and nobody can kind of take that innings a bit more deep, consolidate in the middle to get that slog overs hitting again. So I think Klassen coming good like that, I think that will definitely help Sunrisers in this kind of a pitch at Chepauk, if it's the same one at in the finals too.
Okay, so that will help the Sunrisers, is what you think. But a lot of good things happened, and we will see if Duke comes in. Otherwise, both the teams now have good enough spinners. We will come, but let's take a look into the pitch report of the Chepauk. It was something different in the qualifier too we witnessed, but the rest of the games had dew in there, and Rohan will explain this really well. But 5 games have been coming into the teams chasing just because of the dew. How do you look into it? It's a big game. It's the final, Rohan. Toss is how important, because the team batting first will thinking like, okay, if there is, even if there is dew, if we post something on a 180, 190 in a big game, scoreboard pressure will always be there.
Obviously, Pritham, it's a big game, as you said. Runs on board is like having a 12th man with you to support. And in Chennai, runs on board is always a welcome sign for you, because you can defend like we saw in the qualifier too. But generally, leading up to this, there was a lot of severe heat in Tamil Nadu, and that's where dew kind of was forcing in. But leading into last week or so, been rain around in southern part of India, so the dew effect has been a little bit lesser compared to what it was say a month ago. So I think that way. The dew effect can be lesser, but we're not sure what happens on the day also. That's what cricket is a funny game, they say. DOS, I think if you're a good enough team and you're prepared well, I think, and with this impact player rule, they'll always have that flexibility depending on if there is dew or not. If they go in that extra spinner or a medium pacer to kind of have that cushion there. So I think both teams are well prepared. I think toss may not be such a huge factor. Yes, you would like to do whatever you want at end of the day, but in case you have to do the opposite, I'm pretty sure both teams are well equipped to handle this kind of situation.
Absolutely. And something around Orko for you, Kolkata Knight Riders do not care about the toss, because despite Iyer not having a good toss luck, but even if you lose the toss, whatever you have been given on the stage, you will definitely perform.
Absolutely. There's a lot of balance in the team, and they have been defending targets well. Though KKR is a team that favors chasing, they have defended a lot of targets, and that's why they are at this position on the table and also in the final as well. So certainly toss doesn't play a big role, because Chepauk is obviously unpredictable, because given that day whether they'll be due or not, we can't really say. Some even say that the soil will play a big role, and they may be red soil in this part of the pitch where they will play it tonight. So I think that will be something that will be vital. But I think both teams have enough value in their bowling and their batting to deal with any situation that comes through the toss. So it's not a very big problem for either of the teams.
So it's not a very big problem for either of the sides. Both sides, as both the guest says, should be happy enough to do whatever they are given on the given day. And that's the reason why Rohan said at the beginning of the day, the deserving teams made it to the finals. Let's take a look at the key things the teams should know ahead of this blockbuster IPL final. Starting with the home side, the Kolkata Knight Riders, the new opening pair alongside Sunil Narine. I think the confidence Gurbaz got with the gloves by grabbing 3-4 catches helped him in batting, because the way he performed was very good. The two Iyers have been in sublime touch recently, Orko. I want to come to this. And I think Varun Chakravarti in his hometown, along with the Sunil Narine, will be the difference maker in this game.
Absolutely. I think the opening pair again makes a lot of difference in the game, because if we notice that Chepauk slows down after the power play, it becomes more difficult to bat after the power play. So certainly they have to capitalize on the power play, because that's what happened in the previous game. Even if we see how the innings panned out, Tripathi was the one who was getting runs easily, but the rest of the batting order pretty much struggled, maybe apart from a Klassen. Same with the Rajasthan innings, where Jaiswal got off to a flyer, but the rest of them struggled. So certainly they have to get the runs going in the power play, because after the first 6, 7 overs, batting becomes a bit more difficult, and when there's no dew, it becomes even more difficult. So certainly, opening partners, both of them should perform well, and that only will be for the success mantra of both the teams, for that matter. IA's doing well. Obviously, I feel in this ground, the Indian core has to perform. I don't have much expectations from the big guns like Narayan or Russell with the bat. It's probably the Indian core who has to do better in this game. Maybe Nitish Rana or Shreyas and Rinku or Venkatesh Iyer for that matter. So there'll be a lot of onus on how the Indians deal with these kind of proper Indian type pitches. And again, the spinners will be key to success, mainly Varun Chakravarti because he's playing at home.
Absolutely, but Orko, it's the first IPL final for the Kolkata Knight Riders of Andre Russell. Are you kidding me? Is it so?
Absolutely, because he was in the bench in 2014. He didn't play in that final, and even in 2021, when he went the final, he was injured. Shakib played that final. So sadly, this is his first final. It's Narayan's fourth, but it's Russell's first.
Oh my God, that's yes, Rohan. You were about to say something.
No, it's actually Sunil Narayan's birthday too, so I think he would love to make it special.
So shall we give the trophy to him already? We'll see that, but a winning performance might come on the end on a birthday. But going to the opponents, Rohan, how important are the two openers? Because the last two times the two openers failed, they're not able to get going in the qualifiers as well as in the qualifier 1-2. The Sunrisers Hyderabad middle order still looks a concern for me. They brought in Aiden Markram just like we had discussed in our show because you need a leader kind of a person to stabilize the innings. Nitish Kumar Reddy looked a bit rusty. One shot too many times he attempted, and on a big game you shouldn't do like that. And the last thing I don't want to say, but I have to say, will Cummins win yet another final?
You can say there's one more guy who has a very impressive records in ICC finals. Travis said that guy, along with Abhishek, they have been dominating this IPL against all kind of bowlers. But Mitchell Stark as well as Arshdeep the other day kind of exposed him to the weakness that he has, where lots of bowlers were giving him a lot of width, where he was freeing his arms and scoring tons of runs, suddenly cramping him up from that around the wicket angle. I think there kind of is always a weakness spot that he does have. So I feel if even KKR can go through not just Stark, Vaibhav Arora or Harshit Rana, if they can come around the wicket and tuck him up, I think that will be much appreciated. The same way even Abhishek has kind of copied what Head does in his technique, trying to look slightly beside the line of the ball and hit through the line.
Yeah.
But end of the day, Abhishek I think has improved a lot of his game time being with someone like Travis Head, his shot making ability and his positivity. I think that's shown in his strike rate also. I think he's one of the top batsman with the highest strike rate this season.
Yeah.
So in the power play, I think they're pretty much going to go hard because, as Orko rightly said, batting after the power play can get a bit tougher there, especially against the spin of KKR. I think they would like to dominate and get as many runs as possible within the power play itself to set the tone. Mid order, yes, there has been a concern, but as Markram came in, being captain of South Africa also, I think they wanted that little bit extra stability. But for me, the main jigsaw puzzle that helped them was Rahul Tripathi. His intent and the kind of fearlessness he has showed. Yes, we
Yeah.
saw him disappointed and sitting on the steps at Ahmedabad, but you saw what he did in the qualified too. I think he rectified it to a large extent when both the openers were struggling. I mean, Abhishek, they lost early, but Tripathi's innings was very, very important to
Yeah.
keep that momentum going. So I think Tripathi inclusion there, and as well as that monster batter in Henrik Klaasen,
Oh
if he
my
gets
God.
going, I think it'll be something for a good fireworks to enjoy at Chepauk too. Cummins, well, this is IPL, man. I mean, end of the day, it's our trophy. It's not an ICC one. You won the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, the WTC final, etc. I think let this one stay for us because whatever is going to follow after the World Cup with the head coach and things being still under discussion, I think we would like to see it stay at home as much as possible.
Okay, so you're hinting towards the purples a little bit, but I'm not going to discuss as of now. We will see what happens. But let's take a look into the top three players to watch out for in the big IPL final. Here are three players I've chosen from both the sides. It's a birthday boy, Sunil Narayan. I was tempted towards either of the Ayers. Alongside went with the captain Iyer, with Shreyas Iyer. Varun Chakravarti is a no-brainer. These are the three players for Arco. For the Sunrisers Hyderabad, for Rohan, it's Abhishek Sharma, T. Natarajan, and Pat Cummins. Here are three players. I'll start with Arco first. Some of the KKR players, please.
Absolutely. Sunil Narayan is integral both with bat and ball for the team and his experience because he's been in the franchise for 14 years almost. So he's certainly a key player. The birthday boy coming in would obviously want to do well. I know he hasn't had the greatest of track records in finals, but he would like to turn it around this time around. Shreyas Iyer, again, a big match player. He's been doing well even in the qualifier one. He was very good. And especially because it's a spin friendly track. And in these kind of tracks, you expect Shreyas to thrive. So he'll have a big role to play as captain and also as a batsman. Varun Chakravarti will be probably the most important player of the game because he's the one who brings that spin choke and gets even wickets on in quick time. If Narayan doesn't get, then it's Varun who often gets the wickets because batsmen look to go after the second bowler if they can't go after the first. So that will be a very key battle that both the teams would look at, and Varun has to be the player to watch out for.
Okay, so you have summed about your three players. Going to Rohan, if you can sum up the Sunrisers players, please.
Abhishek at the top of the order is very vital player because he sets the tempo for them to get that above par score. So Abhishek coming good will be very much a key factor for the Sunrisers. But along with that, what we saw the other day, his bowling
With
is
the ball,
also improving.
absolutely.
And if the pitch is still holding it up, and he can sometimes he loves to bowl within the power play also as a surprise package. So if Abhishek can give you those couple of overs, that kind of benefits the team overall, as well as his own evolution, maybe possible inclusion into a Team India later on, which will be a thing to watch out for if you're a Team India fan too. Nattu, I think at home, I think he knows this pitch damn well. If it case, generally I feel T20s are decided at the back half of the game. I think Nattu bowling those Yorkers or the off
Yeah.
cutters that he loves to bowl, I think that will be a very good matchup. Whoever he'll be bowling to at the end, and Natarajan I think has pretty much a cool and calm mind to execute his Yorkers also well, which is famous for. So I think Nattu's spell will be very vital at the death. Cummins has been pretty shrewd in his captaincy and also backing a lot of his players, which has we have heard a lot from the younger players like Nitish Reddy. These guys coming through, I think he has backed them well. If those guys perform, I think a bit of credit will go into the leadership group consisting of Murli sir there or Cummins and these guys, Dan Vettori. So all these people will be equally pleased with the youngsters performing, because since auction also is there the next time, so I think the retention will be a huge factor there. But Cummins has been lucky. Let's see how the luck holds for him at the day of final.
Okay, so you have said your three things. You have said Abhishek Sharma, the bowler, as well. Orko has said about the three KKR players alongside the birthday boy as well. We're done with the top three players. Let's see what the battles holds. The top three battles to watch out for. Here are three battles. I have chosen a Mitchell Stark versus Travis Head, round number 2. It's not round number 3. It's round number 2 between these two players. We might see that happening. Varun Chakravarti versus Henry Klassen. I think this is going to be the biggest battle, according to me. And Bhuvaneshwar Kumar versus Sunil Narayan. Here are my three battles. I'll start with Orko, then I'll come to Rohan if you both can sum it up for me.
Absolutely. The first battle is key because Head wouldn't fail this often. I know that he has a very poor record against Stark, but if he gets going, even if he scores 20 runs for them, that's more than enough because they have enough batting depth, and that's what they would look for him to do. And that will be a battle that will be integral. And I think the one that decides the game would be Klassen versus Varun because Varun is a player who's not very easy to play for most of the batters. Maybe Nitish Reddy is a good player of spin, but obviously Klassen is the one who has to dominate and get those big sixes. And someone who is so stable, goes off the back foot, and even slams full length deliveries with that much ease is not someone you can discount ever. And even in the first qualifier, Klassen was looking threatening. If he was there for another 3-4 overs, the score would have been much bigger. So I think he's the one who is most comfortable against this deadly spin duo of KKR. So Klassen versus Varun will be the matchup to watch out for. Narayan versus Bhuvi will again be an interesting one because Bhuvi is someone who likes to tuck up the players, tries to bowl on the body at times, tries to swing it in as well. That can obviously create a bit of trouble for Narayan and also Gurbaz for that matter. Gurbaz shuffles across the crease a lot, and it's not always that you will miss your stumps or get LBW like he didn't happen before. So it might happen even this time. So I think Bhuvi will also have a very key role in this game. But that being said, Varun versus Klassen will be the one to watch out for.
So Varun versus Klassen says, Orko, I'll come to Rohan now. Rohan, before you speak, I'll just ask an unpopular opinion. If you are given the captaincy hat, would you still be tempted to have a Travis Head opening when you know that there is a threat of Mitchell Stark out there?
I don't think people like to hide in this day and age, Pritham. I think the kind of person Head is, I think he'll like to go head on only to Stark because he knows if he can play out those couple of overs, I think he'll always do well and help the team also put up that decent score, I feel. One more battle I'm really interesting is someone like a Rinku or a Nitish Rana or Dre Russ against Nattu and Stark at the death overs as well. How they encounter, I think that will be a pretty much a decisive I think that may just decide the game too. You never know what will happen at the toss if it's the other way around. But I think that will be a huge matchup to watch out for. Along with that, the Ayers. I think if Venkatesh Iyer, he likes to dominate up front. If he can get hold of the spinners like a Shabaz or even if Abhishek or even the bowling of Nitish Reddy, I think if he starts dominating them, I think that will be another advantage for KKR.
Who said that left-handers cannot bowl to left-handers? Day before yesterday, we saw Shabazz getting the wicket of Yashasvi Jaiswal. So that's something which happens, as well as Hitman as well. So that's something you need to watch out. It's not nothing that has happened, but you summed up the battles. You said that head should open, so we will see that. Let's go on to the prediction. Playing 11. Here it is for the Kolkata Knight Riders. Why change something that has been going so well throughout the entire season? I think they are the only side that has made the most least changes, if I'm not mistaken, because it's just either of Gurbaz, which has been a forced change, either when Harshid Rana got banned for a game, they had to bring in Vaibhav Barora. It's been the most least changes. I think no changes for you. Somebody like Nitish Rana is out there in the middle as well, not getting game time, but he doesn't need if his team is winning by 8 wickets, 9 wickets.
Absolutely. I think this is the playing 11 they'll go with. Many may say that they may bring in Anupol or Suyash for that matter, but I think that's not really necessary because Vaibhav's been doing well in the power play, and you just can't say that this pitch doesn't favor pace at all. It will obviously have something for the pacers, and Vaibhav is someone who would like to capitalize also on this particular ground. If they really need a third spinner, if Nitish Rana's hand is okay because his injury is on the left hand and he bowls with his right arm, so certainly if he can give up 1 or 2 overs, if required, then he can be a good third spinning option as well. And he's very potent. Many people write him off just after that Jaiswal massacre, but Nitish Rana also can bowl a quality bit of off spin if needed. But Narayan and Varun would be more than enough. Alongside that, they have a fourth seaman in Russell. So I think they have enough depth in their bowling. It's not something that they'll worry about, and the rest of the team also will stay the same. But I think that it's the Indian core that needs to perform more than the foreign players that they have, especially in terms of Nitish Rana, who has a good record in Chepauk. I have my eyes on him and even Rinku because they have been quiet in this entire season. Who knows, final might just be that day.
Absolutely. He has been out of the shadow just because he's not getting enough opportunities. But Orko, I'll come to one more question before we move on to this SRH playing 11. Is how important is Russell and Harshid Rana in the middle overs? Because we have seen just like a Jaydev Unatkar, just as Natarajan, hitting it on the pitch and giving the off cutters. How important are these two spells?
Very important because Cummins has been doing that brilliantly, taking the pace off, going bang on the pitch, hitting the deck hard, and enticing players to go for the pull shots, and they mistime it, and that gives up catches. So, given the fact that Chepauk has those wide boundaries, and there's a big bias between the straight boundaries and the wide boundaries, certainly that will be something that these kind of bowlers who like to pitch it back of a length would work on, especially Harshit with his cutters, and Russell, obviously a veteran in doing that, will have a big role in this game as well.
Okay, so fair enough. No changes for you against the Kolkata Knight Riders. Absolutely no brainer with that. Coming to Rohan now, you might be thinking that the reason why I asked this question is that I think Travis Head might just be slipped down to number 3. I might be wrong, but it's just an unpopular opinion. Rahul Tripathi might be given the opening slot. Aiden Markram did not make much of a contribution with the bat, but you need a leader along him. He might be your third spinner in the ranks for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Same 11 for you as well for the Sunrisers Hyderabad.
Yeah, definitely same level. I don't think people like to change what's not broken. It's been a winning combination for them, and especially in Chennai, they just won the qualifier too. So I don't see any changes. Head at 3 and all these things. I think it may show kind of a panic button kind of press. I don't think you want to showcase your cards like that in a big game to an opposition. That will give them that fillip to say that there is not kind of a stability within the group. So I think I'll still expect a Head to open with Abhishek because they have done well throughout the tournament. At the big game, you don't want to see this kind of a change to give an opponent any advantage because Tripathi also has done very well at 3 and previously in his other teams also his success has been at 3, so I think he'll be extra confident now that things are going right for him and he's fit too. And main for me will be that middle order, how they perform against spin of Chakravarti and Narayan, how a Klaasen kind of shepherds the middle order, and the death overs, how he plays. Abdul Samad I think is equally been playing those small little cameos, not big impact, but I think his fielding has been pretty decent at the boundary lines and taking those catches. But for me, a vital player here will be someone like Jaydev Unatkar, because Nattu will be your death over specialist. If Unatkar in the mid overs can bowl those cutters, as Orkot rightly said, into the pitch and angling it away from the batters, I think the chances of using the Chepauk square boundaries will be pretty high to get those catches too.
Okay, so you have summed up the Sunrisers Hyderabad pretty well as well. We're done with the playing 11. It's the IPL final. It's time. Let's move on to the predictions time now. It's the match, the last game of the Tata IPL 2024. I'll hand over the mic first to Rohan rather than the KKR supporter Orko. Rohan, give your honest predictions. How do you look into this game? Is the repeat of the qualified one? Is the repeat of the first game between these two sides played at the Eden Gardens as well? So how do you look into this game? Who has the advantage? Give us your prediction.
I think Eden's pitch was pretty flat, man. I mean, they chased almost lost very closely. I think Harshit kind of held his nerve in that game. As Akka was saying, I think this will be a red soil pitch and we'll have little extra bounce compared to what we saw the other day. So, bit of extra bounce means more even contest than just spinners domination. I think you may get a slightly higher score on
Okay.
par, maybe, hopefully. But because of the little extra bounce, I think the contest kind of evens it out. I think it will be a slight edge to KKR 55-45 for me.
55-45 to the Knights. I think there might be a smile on his face. Orko, before he starts speaking, give us your prediction as well, please.
It'll be a close game, firstly. I don't think it'll be that kind of game which happened in the qualifier one. Maybe KKR have the edge because they have better form and also good track record recently against this team. And as Rohan Bhaiya rightly said, if the red soil pitch does happen, then certainly we have the bowlers to counter SRH as well. So as a fan, I don't believe in jinxing. I believe that the team has been good enough. They have topped the table. You expect them to win. So given the recency form as well, I think KKR have the greater chance, maybe 55-45 in favor of KKR.
So both of them are saying 55-45. So it shows that the game is going to be very close. At the end of the show, I'm telling you, I'll bring back what at the beginning of the show Rohan said. The two deserving sides made it to the finals. That's the reason why both of them said it's going to be a close encounter. Thank you so much, Rohan. Thank you so much, Orko. Thank you to all the viewers for watching this video as well as the entire IPL season with Fifth Umpire. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fifth Umpire because the ICC T20 World Cup is coming up just in a week's time. So sit back and enjoy this grand finale from Chepauk, KKR versus SRH. Till then, thank you so much and bye-bye.